Hi, my name is Gordon Elmer. Today I'm going to be talking about possibility of solar power generation in Asia. This is outline of my presentation. Background. I'm gonna explain about background, and I'm gonna show some research, and finally I give you a conclusion. So first of all, why Asia? Why do we have to think about solar power generation in Asia? Because solar power generation can be a good solution to resolve some serious problems in Asia. So nowadays, Asia has two major energy problems. One is increasing energy demand. So from 2007 to 2035, actually, energy demand is predicted to grow at 2.5% in Asia per year. World average is just 1.5%, but in Asia, 2.5% per year. So another problem is environment problem. There are a lot of island country and island area in Asia, and they will be in trouble because of increasing sea level in the future. So now we have to deal with the increasing energy demand with renewable energy. And then at the time, solar power generation can be very good solution to resolve these problems. So let's go to the next point, recent trend. According to international agency, in 2008, Germany and Japan accounted for over 50% of solar panels share market. So it is mainly developed countries which have installed solar panel in the world. If you look at manufacturing countries, actually China and Taiwan are main country to manufacture solar panel. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, and I'm gonna explain recent trend more detail. In this slide, keyword is emission factor. Emission factor is the amount of CO2 which is emitted when generating 1 kilowatt-hour electricity. It's very complicated, but this is environment impact. And because China is still using coal-based electricity power plant and not efficient electricity power plant, China's emission factor, China's environment impact is very high. So let's go to animation. When you manufacture solar panel, you need electricity, and when you generate electricity, you have to emit CO2 in the factory. So if you generate electricity in Japan, actually you just emit 1 unit of CO2, but China emission factor is high in China. So if you generate electricity in China, you have to emit 2 units of CO2. This is true. This is recent trend. So is this recent trend effective to reduce CO2? There is another story. In this slide, PV potential is keyword. PV potential is amount of electricity which each country can generate with a solar panel. So if you go to some place which have high PV potential, actually you can get much radiation, and you can generate 3 units of electricity, for example. But if you go to Germany or Japan, they don't have a high PV potential, so they cannot get, or you cannot get much radiation, and you cannot generate 3 units of electricity. You can just generate 2 units of electricity. So again, is this recent trend effective to reduce CO2? I don't think so. So in this research, I am researching where should we manufacture, where should we use solar panel to reduce CO2. So in this research, I chose 3 countries, Tokyo, Seoul, and Shanghai. Collecting a lot of data, I made this graph. And this graph shows the amount of CO2 which is emitted in the process of manufacturing solar panel. And as you can see, the amount of CO2 in China is highest. So China emits CO2 the most, and Japan emits CO2 the lowest. Because, as I said before, China's emission factor is very high, actually highest among these 3 countries. That's why China emits the CO2 the most. So this graph is just for manufacturing process. So let's go to next slide. This is CO2 emission in manufacturing and using process. And upper bar shows the amount of CO2 in manufacturing process. And this bar shows the amount of CO2 which each country can reduce with a solar panel. So now you can see it's very big. So compare with the amount of CO2 which each country can reduce with a solar panel. Actually, the upper bar, actually the consumption or the amount of CO2 in manufacturing process is very tiny. So now we understand how important more focus on using process, because this amount is very huge. So, and in this case, China has solar panel. So that's why China does not have to use or does not have to get electricity from coal-based electricity power plant and not efficient electricity power plant. That's why China can reduce such a huge amount of CO2. So let's go to the next slide. This is not true. Okay, this is one. Okay, so now we understand how important to focus on using process to discuss the optimal place to install solar panel. So now there's another more important point, that is country's electricity consumption. Because imagine there is one country and the country's PV potential is very high and the country's emission factor is also very high. But if the country does not consume electricity a lot, actually the country's room of CO2 reduction is very small. So that's why we have to care about country's electricity consumption. And each country's balloon, the size of circle, shows the amount of each country's electricity consumption. So in this case, as you can see, China has very big, more potential in terms of PV potential, emission factors, and country's electricity consumption. But what if, in the case of the Chinese people does not consume electricity a lot? There is no incentive for Chinese to set up or to use solar panel. So let's go to the next slide. I changed this word, electricity consumption per person. So in this case, China's potential is down. On the other hand, Japan and Korea's potential is up. So we can see different results from different perspectives. Okay, let me conclude this presentation. Current trend is not exactly effective to reduce CO2. In the case of manufacturing solar panel in China and using solar panel in Japan, this is not effective to reduce CO2. The manufacturing process, we have seen two processes. One is manufacturing process, and Japan emits CO2 the lowest, and China emits CO2 the most. But the most important point is using process, because the amount of the CO2 which each country can reduce is much bigger than the amount of in manufacturing process. So China has more potential in terms of PV potential, emission factors, and country electricity consumption. And Japan and Korea have also potential in terms of electricity consumption per person. Okay, these topics are which I've learned from this presentation. So I'm really happy if this presentation would be a good opportunity for you to discuss some global energy issue with your friend, with your family, with your neighbor. Okay, so this is why I'm doing presentation, and thank you for listening.